During the Atlantic slave trade, a 10-year-old African girl was transported to the Americas and renamed Priscilla, forced by Europeans from her home and into a life of slavery. More than 12 million Africans were taken from their homelands and transported across the Atlantic during this time. The Sub-Saharan African region has been conquered by more powerful regions. The Dutch and the British, for instance, were able to take over. The question is, why? Why are some continents able to undergo vast usurpations while others are totally unable to defend themselves? The answer lies in the geographic characteristics that each region has. The domesticable animals and plants that grow and the overall situation of the region determine the food production in a civilization, which leads to larger societies with specialization of labor, which ultimately leads to better technology, disease resistance, and political organization. Regions that have these advantages are better able to conquer. Maya Potter Productions presents Guns, Germs, and Steel in Sub-Saharan Africa. Although Sub-Saharan Africa was able to sustain large cities such as Yeha, which is one of the oldest in the world, created in 700 BCE, they did not have a very large geographical advantage. Although the largest, most diverse range of animals resides in Africa, most of them have not been domesticated. For instance, many people wonder why the zebra was not domesticated. The answer is that they cannot be domesticated. Zebras are very bad-tempered and can be lethal to humans. Other large animals in the Sub-Saharan could be very useful to humans, such as the rhinoceros or the hippopotamus, but also cannot be domesticated. Creatures in Africa evolved alongside humans and other animals. In other words, they evolved to be able to evade predators because they had to be for survival and are therefore much harder to domesticate. None of the species in the Sub-Saharan meet all the requirements for domestication. As with the animals, there is a diverse plant life in Africa, but most of the plants are inedible to humans. Few plants can be domesticated, such as sorghum, yams, and plantains. Sorghum especially is one of the most important crops to African agriculture, being resistant to drought and flood and growing in almost any climate. It was domesticated in 2000 BCE in the Sub-Saharan. Disease resistance can give a huge advantage to a region. Malaria is a tropical parasitic disease carried by mosquitoes and given to other animals, including humans. It is a disease that is always present in parts of Africa due to their tropical temperatures. The African way of life had to adapt to become resistant to malaria. Communities were small, preventing the spread of the disease. Also, their houses were in high, dry areas away from mosquito territory. When Europeans came to conquer Sub-Saharan Africa, malaria killed many settlers, providing a defense mechanism. However, Europeans were eventually able to conquer and change the African way of life. They were kept in closer quarters and malaria began to spread, now killing over 1 million people in the world every year. In the end, malaria hurt the development of Africa. The way in which Africa is situated gives them a disadvantage. Ideas, crops, animals, and people would not be able to travel very well from one part of Africa to another, because the Sub-Saharan is primarily stretched from north to south, meaning that it would cover many latitudes and different weather patterns. Crops or animals from one part of the Sub-Saharan would not necessarily survive in another part. In addition, the Sahara Desert is very hard to cross without modern technology. Because of this, the Sub-Saharan was cut off from Eurasia and their technological agricultural advancements. However, they did have a good amount of natural resources, such as gold and iron, which would have been very helpful in trade. Sub-Saharan Africa was unable to develop very quickly due to their subpar geographical features. Although plant life was plentiful, very little was actually helpful in agriculture. There was a dearth of domesticable animals, which is a huge drive in agricultural development. Malaria has decreased the population considerably and prevents advancements and growth. Also, the position of the region itself deterred the modernization of the Sub-Saharan. Overall, the Sub-Saharan region of Africa has very little geographical advantage, and therefore receives a grade of C-.